Well, if government wants to address the country's skewed labour market, skills training needs to be taken a lot more seriously. At least that's a view of labour law expert Michael Bagraim, weighing in on the debate on the amendment of the Employment Equity Bill. Well, let's bring in Michael into the conversation. Hello, Michael. Good to have you back with us on eNCA. And this is such a complicated topic to try and unpack, never mind from the law side, the legal aspect of this. Just tell me where you're coming from in this discussion, in this debate.
Well, thank you. Yes, I've always been against the social engineering, which has failed for years now in South Africa for the last 20 years. It certainly failed in the world over history. I mean, you will recall that the Nazis tried that. It worked for about 3 or 4 months. People were happy, they had food and money, but then the whole system collapsed. The National Party tried that for many years, and they almost destroyed South Africa. And that was social engineering, exactly the same as what the government has now proposed in terms of the new amended social engineering. They call it the Employment Equity Act. And of course, if you recall, back in history, Idi Amin tried that by throwing out the Asian workers. It was also good for about a year, and then the whole system collapsed as well. So social engineering is not the right way to go. A government has to do the hard yards. They have to start from the beginning. You have to actually put in the effort to show that we've got a pipeline of people that can go into the economy. And the pipeline works from the age of 5, where a child goes to school and has decent education. They have a system that would help them. We've destroyed the education system. And then what's happened now is the government is saying, well, we want to come in from the back. We want to go through... So we're going to forget about all the hard work that we're supposed to do as a government. For the last 30 years, we've done nothing. So now we're just going to try and slot people in who are not able to do the work. And you can't expect the business community to actually take that. It's never going to work. They have to do the hard yards. We all living here in South Africa. There's no benefit at all with South Africa just putting people in because of the sake of a minister who wants to try and bring communist ideals to the table.
Where would you start? If you're saying this is going back all these decades, Michael, forgive me, if it's going back all these decades, even you saying from the age of 5 is where it should all be starting. We really, you're suggesting go all the way back. What practically can be done realistically within a reasonable timeline? I'm not even sure how long the timeline could be. You tell me how long is a piece of string at this point for us to get at least moving in the right direction? Or do you just see this never happening, or could it happen fairly soon within the near to medium term future?
Absolutely. Look at the Western Province, who are already doing that, and they've shown results in a mere 10 years. They're showing good results in the Western Province. In fact, if you look at the last 2 quarters of employment in the Western Province, they've actually put 90% of the jobs growth of the whole country has been in the Western Province. Now, that didn't come because the Western Province people are better than others. It didn't come because they're different type of people. What happened there is that they looked at the beginning of the cycle. You need to actually put people through a system. And yes, we can do it. The best way to do it right now, and if we need to do it in a hurry, is first of all, deregulate small business, because they are the job creators of the future. And small business will look to anyone, never mind what their pigmentation is, and forget about pigmentation. They'll look to anyone that is willing to work and willing to work hard, and then train them. And big business is actually stifling small business. So the government itself is a handbrake to job creation. Never mind job creation, white, black, colored, Indian. What we're seeing now is the minister steps in, puts together quotas, targets, and he says, oh, we've got enough coloreds and Indians. Let's keep them out of the system. I mean, they were kept out of apartheid. They're now being kept out of a democratic South Africa. This is democracy gone wrong. We desperately need a new government to come in and to say, how can we do this? Let's do it now urgently. And there's a good experiment going on in the Western Province. it's working. And you see that the finance minister, provincial finance minister of Western Morel Wagner, has put together a plan and money on top of the job creation where they've been so fantastic. On top of that, they now got a new plan and they're pushing it fast, and we're seeing results immediately.
Let me ask you this, Michael, just as I say goodbye to you, I want to ask you this, because you're quite rightly referring to the Western Cape, because they have been doing something and moving in the right direction there. That's only one province, though. The critics are going to say we have various provinces with various issues within each of those provinces. The DA, very good at the Western Cape because they understand the politics, they understand the environment they're in. If that was to go more national with the plan you're suggesting, maybe, is it might not address all the issues around the country when we start talking about going up to the Northern Cape, Limpopo and Mpumalanga, KZN, all unique provinces, all unique province problems. Very briefly, do you think it could go national? Do you think it can be scaled up?
It must go national, and it must be scaled up. We don't have the choice anymore. We've wasted 30 years of democracy. We don't have that choice, so it has to happen. It will happen. And if we don't have the skilled people, then we must import them, and we must give them work permits. Like, you've seen what's happened with Volkswagen. Volkswagen, now not in the Western Province, in 2 other provinces, said we want to bring in skilled people, we want to train others in South Africa, and we'll give jobs to, I think they said something like 20,000 people. And the government, once again being a handbrake, said, well, we're not going to give them work permits. I mean, how ridiculous is that? We're all living here together. Never mind the politics, never mind the history. We need to get this working, and the politics is standing in the way.
As you say, it's a handbrake to what it should be. Michael, I'm going to say thank you very, very much as well. I'm so glad I had a chance to hear from you, just to unpack it and just get a sense from where you are as a labour law expert. Michael Bagraim, making time for me, Michael. Thank you very much indeed for this morning.